This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. Deputy Prime Minister names corruption as a leading cause for drugs in the kingdom. I show you a photo of the very shadow of death. And a man is thrown off a casino roof and he fails to survive. So, no surprise there then. But firstly, as our headline story, and it's very much a story of self-reflection. And the headline really did say it all. Sokha blames corrupt officers for Cambodia's drug problem. Now, you may not know who the Sokha is being referred to there. Well, it's none other than Sokha, the Deputy Prime Minister, and it is he himself that turned the finger inward and said, it is corruption by some government officials that is helping to fuel the illegal drug epidemic. To be precise, Sokha stated that Cambodia's drug problem would not be as severe as it is now if it was not for the involvement of corrupt officers. He warned that strict legal action, including the removal of government ranks, will be taken against officers involved in drug crimes. He said, if some law enforcement officers were not involved, the problem would certainly not be as big as it is now. And he warned any corrupt officials will face strict legal action. As he phrased it, he was looking to cut out the rotten meat. He even went as far as to acknowledge that some officers are actually involved in drug trafficking, saying the drug problem is complicated and corruption continues to worsen as Cambodia's global corruption ranking has steadily declined. Now, let's just hold on there for one moment. That is one big statement for someone as prominent as the Deputy PM. For him to say, we have a problem with law enforcement officers working within the drug trafficking industry. And the drug problem is in fact worsening. And in his own words, saying that the global corruption ranking is steadily declining. This was a major announcement. This speech by the Deputy PM is sobering. It can only be read by those on the wrong side of the law as a salvo of warning shots that clearly state, if you are involved in drugs and corruption, get out now, because we are coming to get you. On this week's Crime Desk, we have a man thrown off a roof of a casino. He flies for a very short while, then dies. Other casino employees are abducted and held against their will. And I have a photo of the very shadow of death. This could be the dullest headline of the week, but what lay behind these 6 words was rather revealing. 4 arrested for murder of foreigner. Not much there to tease you further in that sentence, but there was quite a lot behind it, as police have now taken into custody 4 suspects this week for allegedly being involved in the murder of a Chinese national. But it is how they murdered him that makes this one so very, very different. To unravel this murder, we step into the common territory, a casino. This one was on the Cambodian-Vietnamese border in Ponhay Krek district. It seems a row had broken out, and seeing it's a casino, it seems more than likely money was involved. Things got out of hand, and in the confession of the men they had arrested, they said they had not only argued with the victim, but then they had throttled him. But not enough to kill him. To do that, they took him to the 7th floor of the casino and they threw him off the balcony. Now, just think about the arrogance of that. A casino is kind of like a store. It's a place to attract customers. And these guys had such a disregard for the nation's law that they just threw a man screaming from the 7th floor onto the tarmac below at 11 a.m. It was broad daylight. They did not even have the cover of darkness. According to the police autopsy report, the victim was a Chinese man aged between 25 and 35. His body was broken into pieces by the fall. His legs and his hands were broken, as well as his neck. The four men then went down in the elevator, they scooped up the bloodied corpse and put it in a vehicle, and then they buried it in a nearby cashew plantation. But word got out, as so often happens when screaming people go flying through the air in public places. And the police investigation tracked down the men to Sihanoukville, and that led to the arrest of 2 Chinese men and 2 men from Myanmar. They have all confessed to this most brazen of murders, and now they all stand to answer to a judge. In this next story, we head to Karachi province for a tale of abduction and of torture. The headline read, 3 Cambodian croupiers violently abducted in Karachi. Yes, yet again, we're in the world of gambling and of casinos. But this time, it's not customers flying off roofs to their deaths, but the very employees themselves being abducted and being tortured. The police at Karachi have announced that they are conducting an investigation following the recent claims by 3 Cambodians of being detained and being tortured by Chinese nationals. The tale unfurls at the Gold City Casino, a place it seems where even the dealers could be a little crooked. According to the statements of the 3 victims, they had been asked by a man known as TB, who worked at the casino, to fix the deck of cards, so only one individual could win the cash pot, at the expense of all the other card players. The card dealers were told after the game that they themselves would receive a percentage of the winnings. And so the crooked game went down, and yes, the allotted man scooped the pot, worth many thousands of dollars. And for their help, the dealers received a few $100 each. But someone slipped. They spoke to others in the casino, and soon the ever-watchful casino management heard of this heist. But instead of doing the right thing and bringing in law enforcement, the management at the casino went all mafia 1970s, and they took matters into their own hands. They barged into the men's room and they violently restrained them, screaming at them that they knew what they had done and how they had helped to defraud the casino. The abduction was prolonged and it was terrifying. The latest police update states that they are now looking for 4 Chinese managers of the Gold City Casino who have all gone on the run. As to if the casino itself will face charges for this abduction has not been reported. And some on the internet have said that the casino itself should be held directly liable for their management's outrageous behaviour. I have never done this before, and I have done hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of shows. I am going to read the entire story as it was printed. It was exceedingly short, but my goodness, the photo from this incident is so very painful. So here's the story. A young man is presumed dead after he jumped from a well-known suicide location this morning. The incident occurred at 1:15 a.m. at Duan Pen District, Phnom Penh. According to sources at the scene, they saw a young man standing on the Tro Chan Va bridge. A moment later, the young man took off his shoes and he jumped. After the incident, local authorities and family members arrived at the scene to search with a fishing boat to help find the body for a traditional funeral. That's your lot. Nothing more than that. Yet another kid has jumped from a bridge. So why am I covering it? Well, journalism is not only about words, it's also about photos, about peering into that frozen moment of time. And the photo that accompanied this story speaks volumes. Here it is. This kind of photo I've seen over and over again. Kids taking off their shoes and placing their phones on top, and then jumping to their deaths. It is also very spooky, and it's also precise. So organised, when of course their minds must be in utter turmoil and pain. It is the final gentle breath before the pull of the trigger. But there is something more. I decided to blow up the picture on the phone and enlarge it to see what was the wallpaper the dead child had left behind. And when I zoomed in to take a closer look, I saw something very deliberate. The kid had taken a last photo. It was of their own ghostly shadow. As they sat on their motto, the young man had left behind only this ghostly outline of a once young and very promising life. Here we go. Best story of the month, this one. I'm telling you. Ready? And so it is to our final story. And it's all about a man with the world's longest gun. No, really, it's bloody huge. It seems when asked how much barrel should there be on a gun, he responded, "There's no such thing as too much barrel on a gun." But you will see that amazing weapon in just a moment. But there is a second element of insanity to this murder case, and that is the gunman could not be bothered to check who it was he was shooting. He is quite simply a killing buffoon. This bizarre story came to light when police arrested a man last week after he murdered an Apsara conservation agent. But he did not mean to kill the government agent. He meant to shoot another man that he had actually had a row with. So he ended up killing completely the wrong person. But that's what happens when you decide to shoot someone in the back before even checking the person that you are shooting is the person that you are pissed off with. Now, I can't go any further without showing you the weapon that this man committed this murder with. He, in fact, made this gun himself. And when he did so, he decided that the best length of his rifle barrel would be if it was the same length as the average garden hose. Have a look at this beauty. I will wait as the world's longest rifle slowly unveils itself. Are we there yet? No, not quite. And finally, there it is. Good God. He could be off shooting or medieval jousting with that thing. It's simply massive. The man that this lunatic shot in the back was a 50-year-old temple conservation agent who works in Siem Reap. He was sitting at his relative's house all quietly at 9 a.m. when Sir Lancelot came round the corner, and instead of asking him, "Excuse me, are you Bob, that bloke I just had a row with?" just to confirm the person he was going to kill was in fact the right man, he instead just blasted the innocent man in the back and then realised it was the wrong guy. Quality work, Sir Lance. Nothing quite like discharging the weapon first and then only afterwards having a look to see who it is you're aiming at. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, the man and his 6-foot gun were not hard to find. He probably hid it behind a 3-foot cupboard, knowing that bloke. He is now in police custody and he is facing questions that even he does not know the answer to. It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week.
And here we are at the weather. Now, before we do all that, you may recall that last week and the week before, my face has been swollen, you see, because I had a nasal operation. This has led to some abuse. Yes, abuse flooding in over the internet by this guy, Yobbo, who wrote, "Now it's getting personal, Mr. Potato Head." He thought I was aiming at him when I was saying about trolls. Well, now I am aiming at you because you definitely trolled me by calling me Mr. Potato Head, but it's exceedingly funny. So thank you, Yobbo. Mr. Potato Head. I loved it. I know I encouraged it, but it's still funny. Rightio, let's put the potatoes out the way and my head, which are pretty much just the same thing, and let me try and get the weather up. Oh gosh, it won't. Hold on, it won't go up. I just need to give it a gentle caress. Oh, and up it goes. Rightio. Bloody hell. Oh my goodness. No, honestly, I never read these before I go to voice on these. 100 degrees? Really? Okay, Thursday, Friday, 100 degrees. That's what it's saying. There is a warning of excessive heat. We've got sun across the board. Potentially there could be some rain, but it doesn't look like it. The only good news I can see from this is that humidity is supposed to fall to 38%.
This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly roundup.